Hello, my name is Bigham-Tsai, and I am here to talk to you about part 3 of our video series about the fish tank. This component in this video will be covering a wide range of fish behavior and ecological components, primary aquatically. First off, let me just introduce the species of fish we have in here. We have mud minnows, which are a Michigan native species that we were able to naturally collect out of agriculture ditches under the permit by the WMU Wetlands Ecology Fish Lab and Adam Austin, who is a real expert on this fish species. These fish are able to tolerate very poor conditions, as they are found in agriculture ditches and wetlands. They are able to actually breathe air, leaving them little need for oxygenated water and allowing them to have a high range of temperature, comfortability, and conditions and water quality conditions. The other species of fish we have in here is Picostomus, which is an algae eater suckerfish. They are both posted up behind this big log. These fish are out of South America. We got them from Petco to address our algae problem that was in the fish tank and produce more nutrients. Both of these fish will grow rather large, up to maybe 13, 14 inches in length. And at that point, this tank may only be able to size one of them, maybe two of them, depending on their behavior and pleasantry towards each other. But either way, they are not recommended for any smaller tank than this. They are naturally found in hot environments. Therefore, the water level in this, or the water temperature in this tank must be hot, which seems to be okay in the greenhouse. Both of these fish are under low flow. These are not river fish. Therefore, I try to keep the internal pumping of the system relatively low to provide an adequate turnover of the water, but also not to heavily exert these fish. Mud minnows themselves are a burrowing species into mud. Therefore, a lot of structure and hiding place is very good for them, and they will actually be within the rocks a large portion of the time. So sometimes they will be hard to find and get a count of. Overall, just water quality setups of, not super nitrates or ammonia in the water. I try to keep those low. I try to keep the gunk out of the bottom of the fish tank. Try not to have too many solid buildups in there. I try to keep the water oxygenated, which, as long as the aquaponics system is running, the water is plenty oxygenated by the discharge of the bell siphons. And yeah, I overall try to keep them fed regularly and happy. So diving into their feeding behavior, mud minnows are a predator. They are in the same genus or family as pike. They're much more mild-mannered, but they will eat smaller fish than them and do like to predate on insects primarily. Therefore, when I feed, I usually try to throw little amounts in the tank and throw them a wide range, because mud minnows will typically only eat pellets that are within the water column or that are moving based off them kicking it up or whatnot. One key suggestion I have when the auto feeder is in the system is to put a small pump, which is located behind this log right now, pointing up at the feeder, further distributing the food and allowing some of the smaller fish to get a good shot at them. I would not recommend adding any smaller fish than the mud minnows into the system either, just because they're mildly predatory. Meanwhile, the algae suckers eat algae. Right now, they keep the system very well under control. So we have these algae fins that they like to eat. This is good. I throw in a handful of these every now and then. I typically, if you look online, you can find better feeding instructions of when the fish are satisfied, how frequently I feed the fish. But in an auto feeder, I try to feed them lightly, maybe once a day. And without an auto feeder, as we currently stand, I've been feeding them every 3 days or so. So maybe every other day is probably for the best. I would do more research on that online. Also research the feed that you give the mud minnows. This is currently what they've taken to is the goldfish pellets. They seem to stay in the water column relatively decently, and this seems to be what they're willing to eat. You can try different pellets. I know Omega-1 also makes a good, very nutritious pellets that they've eaten occasionally. These goldfish pellets do not have a very solid nutrient range, so going forward, finding and getting these fish more incorporated to other feed could be a good idea. But they do eat things. What else? Yeah, when I have the auto feeder, yeah, it's good. I feel good on that. So those are the potential reasons in which would disrupt the microbial community. To solve that, I would run the system for a little while, maybe add in the filter. If there's any question to the water quality of the fish tank or of the system, I would add in the filter, which I will speak on later about water quality video. And then I would add in a biological booster. It looks similar to this, and it will say on the back how much to add in